Hello! So today I'm going to be showing you how I prepare for a long distance motorcycle tour and what I take with me. Let's begin. So, before embarking on any long distance motorcycle tour, it's a really good idea to go through and clean your bike thoroughly. That way you can look for any little problems, any leaking seals, hoses, and just general problems with your bike. So I've actually uploaded a video in the past, and I'll put a link in the description, but that will show you what to look for when cleaning your bike. So, once you've given the bike a general clean and you're happy that all the seals are in good order, the hoses are in good shape, you're going to want to start looking at things like the brake pads, the tyre tread, and anything else that might need replacing as such. So let's see what that covers. So, when it comes to tyres, make sure you've got good tread, no damage and the correct inflation. And if you can, get a touring tyre. They last much longer. So, if your oil and water is reasonably fresh, then you probably won't need to replace it, it'll just need a top up. But if you're going to replace your oil and filter, then it's definitely worth running a can of oil circuit flush through your engine. It really does extend the life of the engine, and it does clean the circuit as well, so it's always a bonus. Next, we're going to move on to brake pads. Now, if there's under half a pad left, it's probably worth replacing if you're going on a long tour, so get yourself some pads and swap them all over. This should be done before any ride, but make sure your brakes are working and your fluid levels are correct. I have mentioned this in another video, but running a can of petrol additive through your petrol tank, through your engine, actually does clear out all the carbon deposits, and you'll find it does run a tiny bit smoother, so it's definitely worth doing. Next, you want to make sure that all your key slots are working perfectly. Now, most people prefer a graphite or dry lube to lubricate the key slot, but I find GT85 works perfectly well, so WD-40, anything like that, and should be no problems. Now, I can't imagine you're all due a chain and sprocket replacement, but it's definitely worth giving your chain a clean and a good lube up before you set off. And of course, it's always a good idea to tighten your chain before you leave. However, I do carry spanners with me, just in case it needs an adjustment en route. You never know how many miles you're going to cover. And the last chemical solution we're going to talk about is this. Now, this you spray on the inside of your visor and it stops it from fogging up, and it will last for about 2 weeks. So I don't need to take it with me, but you can because it's small. So, now that we've prepped our bike for touring, there's only a few things left to talk about, and that's what clips on the front and what goes under the seat. And of course, a scarf. You're going to want one of these because the air from obviously the high speeds is going to whip all the oils out your face and leave you with very dry skin. Now, on the front we've got a cramp buster. That relieves pressure from your wrist. We've got a sat nav, and that's powered by the electronic device over here. And we've also got this little camera on the front, which is a Nikon W300. Now, the Nikon W300 is probably the best vlogging camera I've ever seen or used. It's great in low light conditions, it films in 4K, takes incredible pictures, and it's waterproof to 30 metres, drop proof from 2.5 metres, actually I think more than that. And yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. But the reason I use this camera and a GoPro is because it's easier for me to edit in the studio at the end. That's the only reason, and this camera is designed to take professional pictures, whereas this one is designed to take generic, colourful pictures. So maybe in a future tour I will solely use this camera, since it is my personal favourite. Finally, moving on to under the seat, we've got my first aid kit and a hard glasses case which has my spare bulbs in. And the spare bulbs are surrounded by disposable earplugs, so it's well packaged and it serves a double purpose. Now, the only difference in my medical kit is I keep some eye wash in there, because obviously if you lift your visor up and a fly goes in your eye, it's an absolute nightmare, so a bit of saline solution is always a good thing to have. So, a couple of weeks back I posted a video with a very comprehensive toolkit to keep under your bike seat. And for a long distance tour it's fairly impractical. It's better to have full breakdown recovery and a few basic tools just to check tightness of nuts and bolts, maybe make sure your oil plug isn't coming loose. So some things to take with you: small can of chain lube, can of visor cleaner, especially if you're riding in the evenings or early mornings, hand sanitizer, which is also useful to put on a tyre plug to slip it in easier, and of course it evaporates. A lighter, haven't got a use for it yet, but it's good to have one. Tyre plug kit, pair of pliers, a way to inflate your tyre. It's even useful just to have these even if you're not carrying a tyre plug kit, because you can increase your pressure of your tyre if necessary. Some duct tape on a roll is a good one to take. Maybe leave the ratchet out. 2 spanners for tightening the chain. The 2-piece spanner for undoing the rear nut, so you can adjust the chain. And I suppose a tyre pressure gauge. And I also recommend a few Allen keys just to tighten up any bolts that might come loose. And of course, finally, we've got a helmet lock to lock the helmet to the bike, a torch, and a Stanley knife. So, that's my setup for long distance touring and my pre-prep. I'm not going to go into details about waterproofs and leathers and protective wear, because there's so many different pieces on the market and a lot of them are absolutely brilliant, and it's a shame I don't wear them. So I'm not really informed enough to give you details on those, so I hope you already have a great setup, and ride safely. I'll see you next time.